Hello, Stone Seekers. Welcome back to Across the Realm. Hey, Bear, how you doing, man?
Hello there, Loko. Doing well, thank you. Certainly a lot better than last week. I'm in sunny South Carolina right now, visiting the Wonders team, and yeah, having a great time here. How are you doing,
You,
Loko?
I'm doing great. You're like living the summer vacation dream, I guess vacation, but you're traveling all across, right? That's I'm just it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
where's Bear? It's like we need to figure out like where will he show up next. Now, what's that hat you're wearing there?
This is the Carolina Gamecocks.
Okay, so you're sporting the. Are you trying
Oh
to
yeah.
like fit in? Is that what you're trying to do, or just
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I need to assimilate somehow, right? So yeah,
yeah?
this is how. You hit
So
hit the Americans right where they love it, which is
that's right. So
sports.
I have a question for you. Now, I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
prep you with this, but I was thinking of it this morning. I've never asked this question. So
Yeah.
my question to you is how does someone from England get
Mm.
on the Wonders team? I kind of want to hear your like minute origin story maybe of how did you wind up with this project?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So I started off. I met Kish in a Discord group. He was looking for help with a project, but basically a nondescript project. He said, "Has anybody used Midjourney?" Right, and of course, I was running an AI consultancy in England at the time, and taking a lot of American clients back then. So he basically, I said, yeah, like I know how to work with Midjourney, and then push came to shove, and I kind of picked up a contract with them. I worked for about 6 months with them, and then like in the seventh month, I found that like I wasn't just an artist anymore. Like I was doing far more in the media side of things and consulting and putting together plans for how we're going to structure media. And then I said, you know what, like can I just give you guys like a pitch for a media director role? And they said, yeah, sure. I gave them the pitch, and then they said, look, like this is cool, but we know you have other clients right now. So how about you stop seeing your other clients? You just work with us. And I said, all right, sounds good to me. We shook on the deal, and here we are.
Love it.
Haven't
I
looked
love
back
it.
since. Yeah,
That's great. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was just thinking of that last night. I was like, where did it even come from? Because I never really asked. All right. Well, thanks for that little
yeah, of
tidbit
course.
about that. We have a few things to share today, some big things as well. The first is that backer kit importance keeps coming up. And you told me there's this print on demand. So can you explain a little bit more about why the backer kit's so important?
Yes, so it's print on demand to an extent. Like obviously, we're padding it, and we're padding it massively. So don't worry that it's like if you didn't, you know, if you didn't order, then we wouldn't generate the product. We have tons of it that we're going to be selling to retailers, etc., etc. This is more specifically for the starter kits, actually, the starter decks. So if you choose your starter deck now, or if you have already chosen your starter deck, hopefully, if you're being smart about this, then you'll guarantee that you're going to get that starter deck. However, closer to the time of release, and because there is just so much interest in the product, effectively, if you didn't get your, if you wait until I don't know a day before release to submit your preferences, we may not even have the starter deck that you want anymore because it would have been bought up by everyone else. And we're choosing how many to print for each. So I know that there are some starter decks that are more popular than others right now. So let's say you wanted, I can't tell you exactly which one it is because I'm not sure, but let's say Pattaya got 2,000 less units than the other ones, and you really wanted Petraya, well, bad luck. So I really encourage you guys to submit that, not just for our ease, but just so that you can actually get the thing that you want. Um, so that's my 2 cents on it.
All right. So
Go and submit
so
that survey, guys. Yeah,
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 so even though the team's being super helpful, like the due date has passed. The due date
right.
for
Oh
backer
yeah,
gets passed. So
for
even though
sure.
the team's being super helpful, there is still a chance you're not going to necessarily get what you want. So you might show up to the survey and it might be like, that Petraya deck is not available right now. Womp womp. So
Yeah.
sorry.
So we'd
Okay.
really suggest you get it in like this week.
Okay.
if you haven't already. And like, I
Good.
can more or less guarantee if you do it this week, you're gonna get all the stuff you ordered. Just please do it this week.
Do it. If you and we have Filizino in there. He's reminding us daily. I mean, at this point, either you just backed it and then stop checking your emails. That you just said I'll wait till November. But so yeah, get on there.
Yeah,
Okay. There was
precisely.
like a Ninja Discord, not even true announcement by Kisher that I read this week, and he just straight up was like, "Hey, just so everyone knows, like 99% of our cards are locked in." And I sat there and I was like, "What?" I reread it like 3 times. Not many people reacted to it, and I don't think people, really appreciate the importance of that. So, can you give us a little tidbit on that?
Totally. So for clarity, Kisha has been working super duper hard this week. Same as Ramel as well. If I'm not mistaken, they've been staying up until at least 3 a.m. every day. And I'm not even like, I was just on a call with Kisha today. I'm not convinced he slept last night. So certainly, yeah, basically like the file is pretty much the file is pretty much done. I've just seen the like every card that rather sorry, I've seen the graphic for every single card that will be printed, and it's beautiful. So yes, this is a huge deal. Yes, you were right to reread it 5 times because it is a massive deal. But I think that the stealth comes from the fact that like either Kish to some degree is maybe feeling like a little jaded because he's like, I work on this all day,
Right,
or
right,
what's more likely is that the social battery has run out, and he's just like, you know what, screw it, like here's an
right. Open
update.
Discord,
I'm going,
whatever channel it's open to, just type
yeah,
it up right there. Send here. We
exactly.
put it out there, guys. We put it out there.
Yeah, totally.
So that, I mean,
But of
that's cool
course, more
news.
formal updates will be available as yeah,
Sure.
as
People,
that.
people, they're they bring up this thought of when is the product coming? Are you still shooting for quarter 4? I think that's a weekly question that shows up from people. So that should
Yeah,
be reassuring and really exciting to hear.
totally. I mean, look, as of yet, we're still on target for exactly when we said we would be, which is November. Um, that like you can argue that there may always be some kind of unforeseen thing that happens, but absolutely, like I feel confident November's still on the cards with how hard
Good.
we've been working for sure.
Yeah. Right. Now, a lot of people are thinking, I'm waiting here till November, and there's just tons of stuff going on in the Wonders universe, like
Oh
our
yeah.
part of it. And is there a new thing coming up for people to participate in? New
Um,
orbitals or
yes. So, you guys are gonna get a little early scoop into something,
yes.
um, which will be coming out later today. As of this evening, we will be beginning uh, the orbital challenge. Now, this is something that's going to run every week on something called hashtag the first Friday. And this orbital challenge is effectively going to be a dive into each of the orbitals where you will have to complete a challenge that is associated with the orbital. So, for example, this week, and guys, this is completely new information. First time you're hearing this before we even go live on social channels. This week, we will be doing a photography challenge for Patria. And effectively, we're going to have 3 or 4 pieces of art that you'll be able to pick from and decide, I want to emulate one of these pieces. And as close as you can get to that piece, you're the winner. And you're going to be winning all kinds of things. And that will soon be revealed. We're not going to give away too much just yet. But yes, that will be going live tonight on this week's The First Friday.
Very cool. So hashtag the first Friday.
First Friday.
And basically you're taking some piece of artwork from an orbital, and then in real life we're somehow recreating that scene or an interpretation of that scene.
Exactly.
Nice. That brings up a good question from Wicked here. He asks, well, what is the strongest orbital then?
Well, that's
Since we
that's
call
an
it orbital,
excellent question.
yeah.
Um,
What's strong? Like what defines strong, right?
right. So obviously, if we're talking narratologically, like which one in the story is the strongest, I would go ahead and say Boundless. I mean, everything has balance, right? But Boundless is game breaking. Although, given that Wicked, of course, is an incredible competitive player who we've had the pleasure of speaking to, I imagine the question is rooted in the game. So, which is the strongest orbital? I think it's a difficult question to answer. It's nuanced, right? In terms of what does the most unexpected stuff that can catch your opponent off by surprise, Boundless. I personally am a huge fan of Patria right now because of because of the oh my goodness, forgive me. I'm a huge fan of Patria, and then also I would say Umbrathene's introduction of Eternal makes a huge difference to the way that Umbrathene plays. Umbrathene's always been strong, um, but I do feel like my favorites right now are Boundless and Patria. Um, Whereas, of course, like Solfera also has always been strong, but to me, sometimes it can be a little predictable. Um, so against most mid to high tier players, Solfera will win, but amongst the highest tier of players, I would say Solfera probably misses out a little, or just needs more utility from Talwind or from Patria's Symbiosis or from Boundless's game breaking rules,
Yeah.
banishing and stuff like that.
I'm sure he's asking more at that level as well. Now I can speak more of, hey, I don't have a lot of time to deck build. I just want to pick up the game. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you right now, from the cards we've seen, like just starting out as a beginner, Solfera was really strong, and so Dragon Dynasty just kind of just pooped on everybody. So we'd see it when it was first played in the Discord. People would just grab it and just roll. I wasn't surprised. It did really well at nationals. Not saying, I mean, you still have to kind of know how to drive it. When I was introducing the game to some of my friends and even students, they like dragons and they'd play it, and it was like a scramble for me to kind of keep up. But once again, I think that plateaus, right? I think eventually that if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to beat it. I don't know if people know much about Eternal yet. So is that something that we're gonna wait, or is that out there?
Um, that is a good question. Is that something that's just been happening within the playtest team?
I think so, but just so you know,
If
there are some
that's the
changes, maybe.
case, either one, these are not the droids you're looking for,
Right.
or two, get excited for Eternal
Yeah.
because it's
And
a really
Eternal, I think,
cool mechanic.
yeah, it's a cool
And
mechanic. I grew to love Patria early on before these latest play test decks because it was all counter based, and every time I played a guy, like they just buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed. There was a land that would give a +1 counter, I think, to everybody that you played, and I just rolled through people. And then Umbrathane, I I had built a deny deck just to see, and my buddies I play with, they said they didn't want to play with me anymore because it was brainless. Like I just kept playing cards and I didn't have to do anything. Okay, Wicked said it was already in a promo, so it is. Sounds like it is out there.
cool.
So
Yeah, fantastic mechanic. Perhaps we'll go more into Eternal in the time to come. But it's a brilliant mechanic.
sounds good. Rowan Seaweed agrees with your thoughts on Boundless and Patrai. He says Quantum Terror forever. Yeah, that's a terrifying terrifying deck.
Oh yeah, spooky.
And if you're testing, people really like to test with that deck. Filizino's testing that, Cryptotatum's testing that, or Cryptatum. So it's a good deck to like build to test against. All right. Bracket of Triumph. We're going to try something new.
Yes.
We're getting better at technology here. Let's see how
future
Loko
now.
does. So we're going to try and share. Wow, there it is. There it is. Can we see it, Bear? Does that look good? This is new.
Oh yeah.
This is new stuff for Across the Realm. We have a screen share. There it is. Drogothar the Destroyer beat out Zip Zip Nug Nug, but
That's right.
it was like the men's Olympic basketball a little bit, right? Like Drogothar had a huge lead. Zip Zip couldn't quite make it, but it was close, correct?
Yes, exactly. And then actually ended with only an 8% differential.
Wow.
So
So like
not a huge
46, 40, like 47, 48 to like 53, 54, something like that.
No, it was 41 to 49.
41,
No,
41 to 49.
41 to 50. Wait, what?
No, you're right. I'm just tricking you.
Ah, you got me.
All right.
Yeah.
So we are now though in like the what are they quarterfinals, something like that? What are we in right now?
Quarterfinals now. Absolutely.
Okay. So there it is. Russ Trooper versus Emma Fixum Shockbite. Who do you got in this matchup?
I mean, this is like arguably the least contentious battle we have seen in the whole tournament. Unfortunately, I love Russ Trooper, and I feel like this matchup doesn't give him the credit that he so dearly deserves. Emma Shockbite is going to absolutely destroy him. That's
Yeah.
my that's my
Yeah. I mean,
What are
I
your
think we
thoughts?
might have to change her name to the Destroyer.
Right.
I'm on board there. I mean, I was gonna say this is kind of like a cute like lineup until you see like the red splatters on Russ Trooper's face, and you realize, huh, okay, maybe not. And so yeah, I don't even think this is gonna be close. I
No,
think this is just a
I
breeze.
won't be.
I agree. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, and actually, as of yet, I'm going to check a live results. We are with 19% Russ Trooper, and with 81% of the votes, we've got Emma
Yeah.
Shockbite.
Yeah.
This
And
is
to
kind of
vote,
to be expected.
yeah, to vote, just go to like your favorite social media. There's usually a vote tab
Exactly.
there. Instagram. Is Facebook just a comment, or is there a vote on
So
Facebook as well?
Facebook is a comment, and then X is a vote, and Instagram is a vote as well.
All right.
Yeah,
Very good. I'm gonna
and we all
stop.
count. We count them all evenly.
Perfect. I'm gonna stop sharing for now. We'll
Mhm.
move forward with some things, and there'll be another screen share later. Now that I've learned how to do it, it's gonna be like, look at
Oh
me
yeah.
and my new tricks. Okay. So we've covered Patria, Umberthine, Heliosynth, Sulfira. Let's talk Thalwyn because I feel that one is a bit underrepresented. I mean, it doesn't get much talk. So do you
Yes.
want to give us some of your first thoughts on Thalwyn as I load up the share screen, of course?
Absolutely. So for me, Tailwind is all about agility and I mean really like flexibility. So it's all about being able to use actually perhaps the word is utility, right? Um, Having all of these little tools that allow you to move things around, whether it be portaling or seeking, or it kind of adds a little bit of unpredictable play, which is obviously really fun. But also when Tailwind is applied to other less dynamic orbitals, like Solfera, is not particularly dynamic, but it's very strong and rigid. Um, Adding a bit of Tailwind to it can make Solfera incredibly powerful and way more dynamic of an orbital than it is. And narratologically, why we decided to do that too was because Tailwind is the sea sky orbital. So it's the combination of two different types of beings, and because of that, we wanted to make it dynamic and have a ton of util, which it does.
Yeah, when you said Boundless is an orbital where it's unpredictable, I think Thalwind is one of
Mhm.
those two where it's unpredictable. I mean, they talk about Portal being one of its main utilities here,
Yeah,
where it's basically it's not moving. Your wonder or card that portals is essentially being removed from the game and then reappearing, so you can reactivate some of its abilities. You want to talk a little bit about Portal for us?
totally. I mean, I think Portal is bloody fantastic. Specifically because I think maybe something that's little known about Portal is when you portal a card, even if it's tapped already, it is untapped by the time that it gets portaled. So you can kind of think of it as, if you portal a card to realm 1, and it's in realm 6, and you've already tapped it, it will untap, go through the portal, and come back untapped as well. And that's insane. Let's say you have a card with game-breaking properties, and you can just portal it around. You're in a good spot. So Portal is super under-repped, but we've also kind of been a little quiet with Portal just because we want to see how people choose to build it, because it is such a powerful tool.
Yeah, and this is a game mechanic that me getting older in my brain, it's one that's hard for me to like stay on top of or stay a step ahead, because like this one where it shows set sail here, you're just portaling a wonder to realm 1. So pretty straightforward. It's going to realm 1, but there are other cards where you might be able to portal to a your own target. Like you said, reactivate abilities. I mean, you can essentially be portaling your opponent's cards. I'm curious, in the future, I mean, you banish it. So where does a banish card, where does it go exactly when it gets banished? Does it go anywhere, just banished and then back to the world?
You mean as if to say, I guess the reason that with portaling, the reason that we banish it is so that it doesn't trigger any abyss abilities, right?
Yep.
But from a narrative perspective, yeah, I think Portal implies that when it's banished, it's the banishment is the space between orbitals. It's this kind of upside down in between. What's it called? The bit that's like in between the living and the dead world. But yeah,
like purgatory or something.
Yes, purgatory.
Like river
Exactly.
Styx, something like that. Yeah,
exactly. The proverbial river Styx. Yes. So that's.
I like it. I'm excited to see as well. To me, I mean, I haven't played a bunch of Thalwyn, but to me, right now, from my perception, this is one of the more unpredictable orbitals. And I agree. There's lots of cards that seem to be really supportive in this for other types of decks. Here's a little tidbit of some of our factions there. You got mermaids, you got shark people, you got pirate ships, not just in the ocean, but in the sky.
Right.
Seems very steampunkish. You got these eagles, avians, whatever. I mean, it's really cool because it's like a 2-for-1 as well. So if you like collecting the sea, maybe think about start collecting the sky as well. It's really, from a story aspect and that, I find it pretty intriguing. And just thinking of the sky ships and the sea ships, and I'm hoping for some epic battle or something where you have, firing cannons from the sky and cannons from the sea. It just seems like, or maybe a sky ship figures out how to float. I don't know. It just seems super fun, super cool there.
Totally.
All right. Well, let's look at a Thalwyn card. And since I can share my screen, I'll show you where you can find this card. So hopefully these transitions aren't too bad. But in the Wonder CCG blog, so just wonderccg.com, you go to their blog, you can find the print and play decks if you haven't already. And the Thalwyn card we're going to highlight today is in the Time is a Fruit deck, which is a Patria Thalwyn blend. And this card, since we talk about Portal, this card will help us highlight Seek a little bit. So I'm just going to take it from the deck. I didn't screenshot, make it look fancy. I just zoomed in on the card in the deck in the PDF. And I mean, I can say Hopmaster, but what is her first name?
Raniday.
Raniday Hopmaster. She is a primary wonder, meaning I can have 2 there. You can see there are 2 right there in this deck. She's a Thalwyndian Frog Beastmaster. Very specific, a Frog Beastmaster. She doesn't look like much from the start. She's 1 cost, 1 power. But, I like the colors. It's kind of cute. But let's see what she does, because I could essentially play this for free on turn 1. So it's a tap free, seek 3, a wonder with cost 2 or less. Can you fill us in on a little bit of her ability there?
Totally. So it's a tap-free ability, which to me is one of the most valuable strategic tools you can have besides the pass. I think passing is arguably the best, and I feel like those of you who have had sort of higher level experience with the game will understand what I mean when I say that. I'll kind of give a little TLDR, which is that you can control the pace of the game and siphon out energy and actions from your opponent by passing. That's why I love tap free, is because it's effectively a pass, but you get to use an ability too. You seek three or wonder with cost two or less. That means you're allowed to look through three cards, and yeah, uh, that's that's the seek. You bury the rest, right? Um, but the ones that are sought get played. So you seek three and play them. Now, this is an incredible card when paired with Sirenia Coral Hearts. Do you have that in that deck there?
Let me see. Let me zoom out a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, so Thalwind as well.
Yes, indeed.
All right, I don't see it in this deck, but I can search for it if we need to.
Sure. Well, Sirenia Coral Heart, or practically any portal card, this is a fantastic combination because basically every time you tap this, you're seeking three, you're adding to your arsenal, and then using someone like Sirenia Coral Heart on a rival portal, target non-merfolk wonder into this realm. Um, it's incredibly valuable because Rainy Day Hopmaster will be untapped and then you can tap her again and effectively just rinse and repeat this as many times as you fancy portaling.
So you're saying portal or Hopmaster, portal her around, and then I'm seeking cards all the time.
Exactly, and the idea is that Rainy Day is hopping, is hopping everywhere. Truly, the Hopmaster, and Rainy Day by the way, the Latin is it means true frog.
Oh,
So she is truly a true frog.
dang. So there's an Easter egg right there. Raniday. Here I am just thinking, how do they come up with these names? So Latin for
Yeah.
true frog.
Actually, a lot of the words are either derived from Latin or in some cases, uh, I think a couple of African dialects as well, like Shaka Zulu being built off of the notorious South African Springbok. The Shaka is like the king, basically, the tribal king. And you have others like let's see, a lot of Norse type words for Talwind and some of Solfera too, like for the Vikings. Um, lots that you could look into here, but certainly a ton of Latin for the more sort of European type wonders.
I love it. Now I have a few questions about Seek for those maybe who aren't familiar with it. So when you seek three, do you have to show it's three off the top of the deck off your deck, correct? The top three.
Yes.
And do I have to show my opponent? Like, do I lay them all out so we both see them?
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
as you seek, you show your opponent.
Okay.
And
So
that's a balance feature so as to make the ability sort of not too overpowered because in itself it is very powerful.
So when I seek one at a time. So it says seek three. I flip my first card, and if it was a wonder with cost two or less, I would get to play it. Correct? If that first card was
Exactly.
sought,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
because I'm playing it, if it had an on play ability, that would trigger. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So my next question, since I played a wonder, would I continue seeking the last two?
No.
So once you hit, you're done.
Exactly.
Okay. I think that should clear up some of the seek things. I like it. It's fun, but there is a chance you don't hit, right? There's a chance I don't hit a wonder with cost two or less.
Exactly. However, I should clarify this is only in this case, right? It says seek three or wonder with cost two or less.
Correct. Yeah.
If there was no condition, for example, if it just said seek three, then you could seek all three.
Sure.
effectively.
Sure.
But usually, if not always, there is a parameter. Yeah.
Right. So the cool thing about Seek triggers on play abilities. Essentially, this tap free is like passing while building up your board, basically.
Yeah.
Portal her to use her to tap free again. And yeah, that's Ranaday Hop Master, True Frog
Yeah.
Hop Master.
True
I love
frog.
it. I love it. I the more and more I read about Thalwind or learn about Thalwind, the more and more I'm intrigued by it. Just have to figure out if I got the brain power to play it. So
I'm sure.
just for fun though, just for fun, right? All right. Well, that's awesome. He gives that tidbit on the naming. That was a bonus there. Do you have a strategy tip besides just win? Do you have a strategy tip? Because when I think of Thalwind, I like to think
Yeah.
Thalwind. Do you? Yeah, right. There's a dad joke for the day. Do you have a strategy tip for all our viewers today?
Yeah, absolutely. Today we're going to be talking about how to pair orbitals, or just how to choose which orbitals to use to supplement other decks. In many instances, we've spoken about what it's like to play mono decks, decks that don't require any supplementing because you're playing really true to the, to a win condition that's in that deck. So, for example, with Patria, you may choose to just build up as many super strong symbiosis, wonders as possible. With Umbrathine, you're probably in most instances trying to either discard or fill up your abyss and then bring them all back to do some serious damage at the end. With Sulfera, you're pretty much always trying to have the early lead, hoard, and then bring out those really high power wonders towards the end. So with that being said, I think it's very important to consider what's missing in your deck. If you're building a certain win condition, it's just as important to know what the strength of a deck is as it is to know what the weakness is. And like I said earlier, Sulfera is incredible. Like it's incredibly strong. However, it does lack versatility. And so if you're able to include tools that give Sulfera more versatility, like from Thalwind, you have a more balanced play in general. And, don't be afraid to use non-core cards. Like we made them non-core so that you can have really dynamic and meta-defining combos. I feel strongly that when people first start trying to define the meta, they're going to go through these decks. They're going to be, pairing two orbitals together. They'll do like, Thalwind and Umbrathine, or they'll do, like Patria and Umbrathine, or like Thalwind and Sulfera, and creating these crazy combos. But there will be an effort to define the, how would I say, to define the meta early and say these are the meta cards, and then I think you'll find that down the line, give it like maybe a month, I give it a 5 weeks. Within 5 weeks, people are going to say, I can't believe we didn't play that non-core card. And then they're just going to, there's going to be this one card where people are like, whoa, I can't believe it does that. And then they're going to go around and just hunt for those non-core cards that do crazy things. Because we've put so much time and effort and blood and sweat into making sure that these non-core cards are super applicable. And so much so that I don't think people will even realize at the start how applicable these non-cores are. So that's my kind of like strategy advice, guys, is consider what is missing from a strong deck and then go and fill that gap in the strength with that, that dynamism. And then secondly is watch out for the non-core cards. And I would say maybe study them a little and see where you can add them on a wider scale. Because they could be your next auto include.
Yeah, Hot Master's non-core. She's non-core. Some are obvious to me, like energy extraction. Like when that came out, it's gone back and forth, right? Core, non-core, core. Right. Currently, it's non-core. Like to me, that's super powerful card. But I'm excited to see the ones that aren't, that we aren't so obvious. Corey says Phoenix Feather. Yeah, Phoenix Feather is a fabulous card. I don't like. I feel it's a dead draw late, but early on, if you can get a Phoenix Feather out and drawn. That's great. I'm a fan of those cards, like a random secondary or primary non-core that just bucks the trend. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see someone's hand. They figured out, oh yeah, I'm playing whatever, and you look at it like, okay. And then all of a sudden by the end of the match, you're just, wow, I can't believe that card did that. That's
Exactly.
amazing. Got some questions here. Wicked wants to know, is there something about Realm 1? We briefly saw like the card on the Thalwyn site that said portal this card to round 1. He says lowercase p as well. So is there something about Realm 1?
There certainly is. I'm debating whether or not this has been made public information yet. I feel like this is a safe and good consortium to give early access to those
Yeah,
of
and
you who are
I think it
listening.
might have been. I think it might have been leaked at one time by
Mm.
someone as well. So if I know what you're thinking, we'll let you go, Bear.
Yes.
Take it away.
In any event, thank you for coming always to Across the Realm, and I feel like that should be adequately rewarded. So whether or not it has been made public knowledge, you will know today. So Realm 1 is a we've been looking for fair ways to create a tiebreaker in the game, and it started off, of course. Well, it didn't start off like this, but what we eventually came to was that whoever has the most power is going to get the win. So if there's a 3-3, tie, and no one gets that last stone, or that stone gets destroyed or something, effectively the game is going to go to the person with the most power. And that was a decent tiebreaker, but I was very strong in my feedback against it, especially having designed quite a bit of Umbrathine and been just had my hand in it. I knew that specifically for win conditions affecting Umbrathine, you sometimes don't have a ton of power towards the end of the game because your end game is focused on trying to just blow up the entire board, whether it be your side or your opponent's side. You get that Dark Magic Hydra in Realm 6, and they've generated, I don't know, 15 dragon tokens, and they're all 2 power, and you pull 3 cards which you've denied, the entire board is gone. So really, we figured something had to change. And so as a result, what we decided is that the tiebreaker in the event of a 3-3 or a 2-2 or whatever is who controls the stone in Realm 1. And the reason that that's important as well is so that you can't have things like double ties, for example. You couldn't have, oh, well, the tiebreaker is that who has the most power, and then you have the same amount of power as your opponent. God forbid that happens, right? But let's say we need to go through something. Who controls Realm 1 is definitive, right? And that, by the way, I'm really biased. I knew it. Yes, that's correct. I certainly am. But this is to be clear. This is to protect all orbitals who benefit from not having high power at the end of the game. So yeah, and then in the event that the stone in Realm 1 is destroyed, it's Realm 2. It's just the lowest realm, right? Is the tiebreaker. And to me, like that's an important and exciting thing. In a perfect world, though, I would say, and perhaps in so I'm like getting distracted by all these brilliant comments that are coming in as I'm talking. I would say never mind. I'll get back to it. Resurrect
Yeah.
the undead guy that gives 2 power to all undead. That's an Umbrathine upset moment. For sure.
100%.
Back, like Pura Voice of Terror.
Yes. I think that the Realm 1 tiebreaker, I think it suits what our purpose is. Our purpose is to seek stones. And so if I have that stone, I did my job, right? Just because I have a lot of power, I doesn't mean I did my job. Sure, I did it. I tied you 3-3, but the fact that I have that Realm 1 as a tiebreaker, to me fits that. And Wicket said it best here. He's like, that Realm 1 tiebreaker is super cool. It's another little tweak that I feel makes this game different enough, because the most power to me is obvious, right? Who's bigger, who's stronger here? That's the most obvious one. Where this is another one where, in chess, like you might play for the stalemate, Well, this might be that one where you're playing for the tie, but really you're playing for the win, because maybe you use that Thalwyn card we saw, which says portal target wonder to realm 1. Boom. Maybe that makes the difference or something like that. So
For sure.
I think it's super cool.
Yeah, with this, I should clarify as well. This is for the structured format that we are currently going with as the dominant format. When it comes to tournament, there may be a slight variation on rules, and this is something that I'm pushing for myself. Having formerly been a competitive player, right, scoring top 2% in Europe for Legends of Runeterra 4 seasons running, and running a team that did the same too. Like, I know how jarring it can be to get to an end of the game where you've played super well, and then because of some like silly tiebreaker, you aren't rewarded for the crazy play that you made at the end of the game. And fundamentally, I think it's much more important to have a feels good moment than it is to, have like decisive wins. And to be clear, I say this as a European who grew up watching soccer, because we have ties all the
Yeah,
time and
all
it's
the
super
time.
normal. But God forbid you ever had a tie in American football, people would lose their minds. And look, sometimes there are, and everyone kind of everyone walks home kind of sad. So
Yeah.
I think when it comes to tournament, it's going to be good to allow ties, and maybe build that into some kind of structure. That's my current thought. We'll see what the rest of the design design team think, but I'd like to get a consensus on it for
We'll
sure.
see where that winds up. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So let's recap 2 big things. Do the backer kit if you really want your stuff that you want to pick, because the longer you wait, it's already past due. The longer you wait, that less and less of that stuff, whatever you pick for your starter deck, basically, will be unavailable. And then checking the Discord for an announcement on this orbital challenge. Is that what we're doing today?
Yeah, exactly. Check the Discord, check the Instagram, the Twitter, Facebook, all socials, or frankly, just whichever one's your favorite. And yeah, you'll receive details in Discord tonight. So you'll have the whole
Nice.
weekend to start, looking for places to take pictures, and then you'll have all week until Wednesday to submit your
Perfect.
responses.
Well, thank you so much, Bear. It's always a pleasure. Cool that
Likewise.
you're still here in the States. North Carolina. Is it North Carolina or South Carolina? I always
South
get them
Carolina,
mixed up.
sir.
South
Yes.
Carolina. Very good. And remember, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Across the Realm. We appreciate you. Bear dropped some alpha for us with the help of Wicked prompting there. So that was pretty fun. And remember, everybody, keep seeking the wonders in life.